Greetings and welcome to another exciting edition of the program Inside Nilds. I am Okiri Agbonsuremi, your guide. In today's package, Nilds builds partnership with UNDP, German Technical Cooperation, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, and other development-focused organizations. Institute signs MOU with UN Women on gender mainstreaming in the legislature and across democratic institutions in Nigeria. Nilds DG tasks IMF on Northeast development. One clear attribute of a visionary leader is knowing what to do, how to get it done, and identifying those who are relevant in getting the job done. So, in line with his vision to align the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies needs with very relevant and credible organizations, the Director General of the Institute, Professor Abubakar O Sulaiman, has reached out to the United Nations Development Program, UNDP in Nigeria, to explore areas of partnership. UNDP works in about 170 countries and territories, helping to achieve the eradication of poverty and the reduction of inequalities and exclusion. It helps countries to develop policies, leadership skills, partnering abilities, institutional capabilities, and build resilience to sustain development results. No wonder Professor Sulaiman considered it worthwhile for Nilds to work closely with UNDP. The Director General presented some publications of Nilds to the country representative of UNDP, perhaps to foster a better understanding of the Institute. The DG Nilds also met with the Executive Secretary of the African Capacity Building Foundation, ACBF, which is the African Union's specialized agency for capacity development. Recall that the ACBF has provided financial support to the Institute for over 7 years, which has helped to strengthen the capacities of parliamentarians and staff of the ECOWAS Parliament and ensured that the positions and proposals advanced by the National Assembly are informed by requisite research and analytical support. Having spearheaded and robustly coordinated capacity development programs worth a whopping $700 million across 48 countries and 8 regional economic communities in Africa since 1991, ACBF has gathered the requisite experience that makes it the go-to institutions for expert knowledge and human resources to facilitate the timely implementation of continental and national development agendas. As the African Union's specialized agency for capacity development, following over 28 years of solid work, ACBF is placed to advise and support African countries, regional economic communities, and institutions on decisive steps to develop the practical skills urgently required for the continent's economic transformation. Having been a player in the economic, socio-political mix of the continent over the years, Professor Sulaiman rightly identified this vital niche of ACBF and sought to build on the existing relationship and advanced network of the two institutions as partners. The Director General of Nilds, Professor Abubakar Sulaiman, has called for a technical partnership between Nilds and the German Technical Cooperation, GTZ. The GTZ is an international cooperation enterprise for sustainable development with worldwide operations. It provides viable, forward-looking solutions for political, economic, ecological, and social development in a globalized world. GTZ promotes complex reforms and change processes. Professor Sulaiman made the call during a visit to the GTZ leadership in Nigeria.
Our mission here today, one is to commend you for the good job you have been doing. we have to call for a kind of partnership and collaboration with the organization. And our prayer is simple. We are asking for technical partnership. We need to enhance, we need to engage in this vision, in whatever you are doing. And such engagements commences from our institutes. We facilitate that inroad.
The GTZ country director, who warmly received Professor Sulaiman, gave assurance that the German agency was willing to provide support in the areas of general governmental reforms.
It's a great pleasure that you are one of my first official visitors. Very interested in it. It's already supporting, and we will also later introduce online. I do think you are completely right. We have discussed in Development Partners Group in a meeting with 3 World Bank vice presidents what is the next steps to take or to support the Nigerian government, but also the country, with regards to reforms that have to happen under the current government. What is the agenda of the current government for change, and where can we perhaps identify new partners, all of the development partners, in order to support those efforts.
In a related development, the leadership of the German-owned Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Foundation has visited Nilds with a pledge to assist the institute in the area of capacity building for Nigerian parliamentarians. The Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Foundation, KAS, is a German political party organization associated with but independent of the center-right Christian Democratic Union. The foundation's headquarters are located in St. Augustine near Bonn and Berlin. Globally, the KAS has 78 offices and runs programs in over 100 countries. According to the KAS country director, the technical support is expected to cover dimensions such as security and budget.
We are not only active in the area of security. We have partnerships with 9 state house of assemblies, very long-term partnerships actually, and we have been providing to those 9 state house of assemblies capacity building to the parliamentarians. Now, for instance, when the members elect, or actually the parliaments were elected this year, we invited all the members elect to capacity building in order to provide them information and knowledge on how to do parliamentary work.
The KS country director and Professor Abubakar Sulaiman explained the areas of their collaboration to newsmen.
A very, very important motivation to seek an appointment with the DG, Your Excellency of Nilds, in order to explore the mutual interest in developing and supporting parliaments in Nigeria and providing, of course, capacity building, further capacity building jointly to parliamentarians in Nigeria.
The Konrad Foundation is a German foundation which was put in place to assist Nigerian parliamentarians and other stakeholders in the areas of capacity building. And do not forget that our institute is largely put in place to enhance the capacity of Nigerian legislature and other stakeholders in democracy. So we have something common to share.
We'll take a break and we'll be back shortly.
The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Nilds, in conjunction with the Secondary Education Board of the FCT, proudly presents the 6th edition of Nilds FCT Senior Secondary School Quiz Competition on the Legislature and Democracy. The zonal contest will take place on the 29th of March 2021 by 10 a.m. at the following centers: Government Secondary School, Jabi; Model Secondary School, Maitama; Government Secondary School, Karo; Government Girls Secondary School, Dutse, Buhari; Government Secondary School, Kuje; School for the Gifted, Gwagwalada; Government Secondary School, Abaji; and Government Secondary School, Kwali. The final will hold at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, in April 2021. Announcer, Professor Abubakar O, Sulaiman, Director General, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies.
Welcome back to the program. In another development, the UN Women has signed a memorandum of understanding with Nilds to mainstream women inclusion and participatory democracy in Nigeria. According to the UN Women Country Representative, Comfort Lamte, the partnership aims at closing the women inclusivity gaps in the nation's legislative process and governance.
We still have a way to go because we are in a position now where Nigeria has a very unenviable position in Africa and in the world in terms of the representation of women. Certainly my organization has for some years now also been working with partners across the country on trying to get legislation passed on gender in Nigeria. That is still not materialized. We have very few women in the National Assembly. And so I believe there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and the signing of this MOU should be really just the first part of that journey of looking at how we can work together to have the right legislation in place that fully protects and ensures the participation and rights of all Nigerians, especially women, where we can ensure that all our legislators, both male and female, have that commitment and orientation to ensure that all the bills that are passed respond to the priorities of both men and women in this country.
While emphasizing the reason for the partnership, the DG Nilds, Professor Sulaiman, explained that wherever and whenever women and youths are excluded, there would always be a vacuum of great consequences.
We have been asked to look into the issue of democracy, good governance, and see how far we can get people to embrace democratic principles and ethics. So on this note, therefore, that we look at the various issues confronting our country, politically especially, I will now discover that, as Riley pointed out, not many Nigerian women participate, either by omission or commission, in governance. When we talk of exclusion, exclusion is highly pronounced on the side of women, on the side of youth. And as such, where youth and women have been excluded, you can also, conclude that there's no governance at all. Because youth and women constitute the largest share of the population everywhere in the world.
We take a break and we'll be back shortly.
The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Nilds, in conjunction with the Secondary Education Board of the FCT, proudly presents the 6th edition of Nilds FCT Senior Secondary School Quiz Competition on the Legislature and Democracy. The zonal contest will take place on the 29th of March 2021 by 10 a.m. at the following centers: Government Secondary School Jabi, Model Secondary School Maitama, Government Secondary School Karo, Government Girls Secondary School Dutse Buhari, Government Secondary School Kuje, School for the Gifted Gwagwalada, Government Secondary School Abaji, and Government Secondary School Kwali. The final will hold at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, in April 2021. Announcer, Professor Abubakar O, Sulaiman, Director General, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies.
Welcome back. The Director General of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Nilds, Professor Abubakar Sulaiman, has asked the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to commit more resources in Nigeria's northeast zone, which had been ravaged by terrorism. Professor Sulaiman, who made the appeal during a meeting with the leadership of the IMF, said Nigeria's northeast needed more attention due to the insecurity in the area. Both Nilds and the IMF pledged to work together on mutually beneficial schemes. The burning desire to place Nilds on the global scale has taken the DG of the Institute to the Johns Hopkins University in Washington, D.C., United States of America. While at the university, the Nilds delegation met with several notable personalities, including a cerebral expert on African studies at the university. Apart from the partnership drive, the visit provided an opportunity for a review of how Nigeria is managing its internal challenges in the areas of economic, democratic governance, and security.
There are big issues. There's the economy and the ongoing recession and the difficulty of managing that, and then of course there's the security situation, which has now expanded beyond the already significant problems of Boko Haram and the Niger Delta to widespread banditry, kidnapping, and insecurity through many, many parts of the country where we had not seen that problem. So those are obviously the problems that Nigerians are talking about.
While introducing Professor Sulaiman, members of the Nilds delegation emphasized the DG's burning desire to revive the Institute's partnership with the Johns Hopkins University.
Both of them happen to be from the onset of relationship, which started with your invitation to the then Deputy President of Senate, Amado, who was the chairman of the Governing Council. And Prof taking over now, the first thing the front burner was to revitalize this relationship.
God wanted him for this particular project. He came in and he has turned up this around. I mean, the enthusiasm is up, people are excited, people are getting training, and he wants to put Nilds on this pedestal. I said, who better than Johns Hopkins to do it? So I'm sure he's going to explain to you his vision, which I'm excited about, because I call him a common Nigerian. He wants to build an institution. And I walked in there and shook his hand. You're building an institution. People who had never gone for training before in Abuja are all over the world training because of him.
Professor Sulaiman said the desired partnership with the reputable university was a part and parcel of the general commitment of Nigeria to see that its democracy thrives.
The only institute in Nigeria put in place by the government of the country to nurture democracy is the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. And the fact that today Nigerian government still hold that institute high and believing that yes, with the partnership we can have with such institutions like Johns Hopkins and other relevant institutions across the globe, we can get democracy on track. So whatever the shortcoming or weaknesses on the part of government, I think our government is still committed to ensuring that democracy thrives in the country.
Professor Sulaiman emphasized the pivotal place of Nigeria in Africa development and why he is very concerned about enhancement of democratic studies in the country.
Nigeria is key in Africa. Nigeria is central to African development. Whatever our perception, whatever our observation about the country, every reasonable stakeholder across the globe, lover of democracy, want to see Nigeria, intact. Should there be anything wrong with Nigeria today, either in terms of insecurity, in terms of separations, in terms of disintegration, it will affect the whole Africa. And that's why everything that needs to be done to get democracy on track, to ensure the stability of the country. It's like ensuring the stability of the continent.
What is Professor Sulaiman's vision for Nilds Johns Hopkins University partnership?
We have been sending our legislature to Johns Hopkins for refresher courses, for executive courses here and there. But we want to go beyond that. Right now we have postgraduate programs with University of Benin. We have so many specialized courses we are doing. We send representative here for further study, but we now want to partner with you as part of the MOU in a way that it will be more cost effective, it will be more economical. Quite a number of people will benefit if we get down a resource person from Johns Hopkins as part of our understanding down to Nigeria. This area, we want you to look at it. How do we, going forward, how do we get this done? How do we partner in a way that your resource person there, your scholars there, we work it out to Nigeria for the legislature at the center, for those at the state level, on annual basis.
While expressing willingness to collaborate with Nilds, the Johns Hopkins University scholar said the university has the right experience and resource to positively impact the mandate of Nilds.
In terms of size, we're about on par. And in terms of the breadth that I think we cover on the policy side, I'm very happy that we're cooperating and that we're peer institutions. And of course, we have an advantage here in being in Washington from the point of view of this particular alliance and this particular relationship, because there's not only the Congress that is nearby, and including congressional staff, members, and so forth, but there's a whole array of academic and non-governmental or non-profit institutions that Brookings and others that are arrayed around legislative affairs and democracies.
He expressed optimism that the collaboration will be worthwhile given the standard facilities at Nilds.
My strong preference would be to be personally involved in this relationship and in this cooperation. And I can guarantee that from here without question, regardless of other commitments or issues. My presence as a resource person in Nigeria may be somewhat dependent on other circumstances, but I'm optimistic about being able to participate in a robust way and on a regular basis.
At a technical meeting to brainstorm on the details of the partnership, the Johns Hopkins scholar expressed optimism over what both Nilds and the university could accomplish through the initiative.
What can only be regarded as a prolific research output, they've developed a cooperative training arrangement with one of the domestic universities, University of Benin, which offers degree programs in legislative studies and legislative affairs, to build capabilities domestically.
Professor Sulaiman thereafter met an experienced parliamentarian at the Johns Hopkins University to further explore areas of collaboration. That's where we are concluding today's show. Before I bow out, let me recall a statement by Marjorie Kelly, which says, "The lesson of history is clear. Democracy always wins in the end." I am Okiria Agbonsuremi. Have a lovely evening.